What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the most overpowered tactics within FM23. We're going to be going over how to set them up as well. We're talking about the 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and the 4-2-4, as those are not only the most popular ones, but the best tactics to use within FM23 this year. They'll bring you non-stop success. Now, what you will learn in today's video is that anything that you can apply to these three tactics, you can also apply to any other tactic that you may feel you want to implement with your side. Whether it be a 5-2-3, 4-4-2, 3-4-3, it will work for anything as long as you are using your football mind. But with all that being said, without further ado, let's get into the video. So for this video, I'm going to be using a tool that will help me better demonstrate things to you guys. It's called tacticalboard.com. It essentially is a website where you can really just create any sort of tactic that you want, and you guys are going to be able to better understand the game of football or better understand your tactics by doing so. Because if you see something within the game that you don't quite understand, maybe try plug it in over at tacticalboard.com, and it will definitely help you realize, okay, this is why this is happening, this is why it's working so darn well. And no, this is not a paid ad, just something that I utilize that not only helps me, but I know for sure will help you guys. So once again, we'll have a link down below in the description if you guys want to give it a go for yourselves. Now, the first tactic that we're going to be talking about is the 4-2-4, and as you guys can currently see on the screen, is that the 4-2-4 could be pretty spread out, and that your midfielders will kind of feel like they're on an island. But those men on an island are what connect your back line to your front line, and they are absolutely integral in being that they probably need to be the best players in your side, both not only offensively but defensively, so that they can shuttle back and forth and do everything that you need them to do. Now, also in a 4-2-4, your wing backs are going to be pretty important, and you need to make sure that you have some strong aerial defenders as well, because you don't want to get caught out, and if they're trying to do over-the-top through balls, you have those guys back there to help you defend that. But if you are playing a front four, definitely do a 4-2-4. It is absolutely insane how good it is this year in FM23, and if you can have two very good strikers that can play off of each other, and in my opinion, which I'll show you in a moment, having an advanced forward with a pressing forward on support, that is the best 1-2 combo right there instead of having two advanced forwards together. Yes, you may score loads of goals, and that's what you might want in your side, but for better overall balance, definitely use an advanced forward and a pressing forward on support. And then those wingers, either use inside forwards or inverted wingers. Now, remember how I just said that those midfielders are kind of like men on an island in the middle of nowhere? They are very important, like I said, and here is why. You currently see how it looks within FM23, within reality, when there is build up into the final third, when you are implementing something like a 4-2-4, and you have the 6 and the 8, the two central midfielders, on the outside of the box. They are there for a reason. They are the facilitators. They are going to make sure that everything goes right, and that if you need to regroup and kind of move the ball around to try and find an opening to attack, they are the orchestrators for that. And to better help demonstrate that, you can now see all the passing combinations right there in front of you for how they can help distribute the ball and make sure that they find the opening to nick you that goal, whether it's in the 80th, 90th minute, or just to get up early in a game. They are the game changers for you. Those two central midfielders are going to help dictate a lot of things for you, whether it's in the build-up play to get to the final third, or once you're in the final third and you are just absolutely annihilating your opponent to where you constantly have people open. And by constantly having people open, I mean the number 6 and the 8, they have 5 different options to where they can move the ball to. That is a lot of freaking options, to where usually, okay, if you're just rocking a tiki-taka and you're trying to just move the ball up the field, it's usually one triangle trying to move all the way up the field together. At least that is what I've seen a majority of the time in FM23 this year. But if you're doing something like this, look at all the options you have. It is absolutely mind-blowing, and your opponent doesn't know what to do. Another thing with the 4-2-4 that helps make it very overpowered is not having those two central midfielders play super deep or super central. Stagger them. Play asymmetric. When you have a setup like this, like I do in my 4-2-4 Dracarys, It is absolutely insane, and your opponent doesn't know what to do. Whether it is AI or a human, they don't know how to counter this. It is just, for some reason, asymmetric is very, very good with a 4-2-4. I've used it in saves. I've used it in drafts. People and AI do not know how to break this down. If they do, props to them. They broke you down once, but it will not happen again. You want to know why? Because you're going to be using the best opposition instructions possible to prevent that from happening. What you basically want to do every single time. Now, a majority of the time, you will be playing against a 4-3-3 or a 5 in the back, maybe a 4-4-2. So what you're going to do, you're going to trigger press both fullbacks and show them both onto their weaker foot. Because if you're pressing them, you're causing them to panic. If you're showing them onto their weaker foot, when a majority of them are only one-footed, they're going to botch it. Then if they have wingers, so 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 5-2-3, whatever, you're going to show those wingers onto their weak foot as well. Same with the striker. But if they have attacking midfielders, or mainly just a 4-2-3-1, what you're going to do to that number 10, you're going to show them onto their weaker foot as well. Trigger press as well, because if you're forcing them to make mistakes when they are approaching your third, they're going to get countered instantaneously. So, like I said, they might break you down once, but it's not going to happen again. Next tactic we're going to be talking about is the 4-2-3-1. Probably the most common tactic that is used within FM23, within any FM. It is very simple to implement, very simple to make it overpowered. Why is that? Because everything kind of rocks around your number 10. Or this year, if you have a very good number 10, and you have two very good defensive midfielders, not playing them centrally and pushed up, but further down in front of the defense, you're not going to be able to get broken down too often because they almost play as a back six at times. As you can see on what I am showing you right now, I have the 6 and 8 sitting deeper, sitting in front of that defense. If you push them forward, yes, still going to be very, very good, and you can still have a lot of success doing that. But this year, especially in the pre-made tactics, you will notice that they have what used to be pushed up central midfielders sitting in those defensive midfield areas. So I don't know if that's FM basically telling you, okay, this is going to be better this year, or just maybe implement this because it'll better help you counter the AI at least. And once you're in the final third with a 4-2-3-1, as you can see here again, kind of like with the 4-2-4, plenty of combinations. I believe with the 4-2-3-1 there are 6 different combinations, but where the 6, 10, and 8 are, you will notice that they can also form a box if need be. So plenty of passing options and plenty of ideas for your playmakers, your orchestrators, especially your number 10, to do some damage. Now, when implementing a 4-2-3-1, like I have suggested, you're probably going to be wanting to play your central midfielders instead of further forward behind your number 10. Play them in front of your defense. And one role that you are definitely going to want to have is a segundo volante right here. Because a segundo volante is a deep line playmaker, but you can turn them into a box-to-box midfielder just sitting deeper. How do you do that? You use the instructions. Essentially, you're going to want to have them get further forward, move into the channels, and then maybe take more risks or try and shoot more often so that they're a little bit more offensive. Then you're going to want their partner to be the more defensive side of things. Maybe try and make them a defensive version of a box-to-box midfielder, because box-to-box midfielders are very, very important and very overpowered this year in FM23. Now, the last tactic that we're talking about is the 4-3-3, which personally, that is my favorite tactic. The 4-3-3 kind of allows you to do whatever style of football you want. And the 4-3-3 is very, very good this year. Once again, usually like it is every year. But for some reason with the 4-3-3 this year, you can borderline say you're playing a 4-3-3, but then kind of change it to being a 3-4-3, 3-5-2 on the fly, to where this, I think this year, this is the most versatile tactic out there. Now, why do I say this is the most versatile tactic out there this year? Well, Let me give you a few examples. As you can see right here, with the 4-3-3 combinations in the final third, you have plenty of options. Kind of like the 4-2-4 and the 4-2-3-1, you have 6 different passing combinations. Do you have the box combinations like you do with the 4-2-3-1? Unfortunately, no, you do not. But look at the 6, the 8, and the 10 right there. You have plenty of options springing off of them, even off of the number 9 right there, because if you have someone like a Lionel Messi who gets into that area of the box, but there isn't a shot for him, even though it's Messi, so there probably is, but just for instance, say there isn't, look at how many options he has to try and find that shot. Remember when I said that you can kind of have this turn into a 3-4-3 on the fly? Well, here's the example for that. It is turning into a 3-4-3 on the fly, but how do you make that happen? What you will do is play a player as a halfback. The halfback is probably the most low-key fun role you can have on a player this year. It will turn any player, if they have some passing to them, but a good defensive game to themselves, it can turn any player into an N'Golo Kante or into a Rodri, especially if they're taller. And when you are playing that halfback and it drops into a 3-4-3, this is the combinations that you can have just building up to the final third. Not even once you get to the final third. Everyone has a route to get to the net. Everyone, including your center back. So if you're playing a ball-playing defender, which this year ball-playing defenders like to get way further forward, if you're playing someone like that and they happen to have the attributes like a Sergio Ramos, they can probably bang home a couple of goals for you because they have the options to be able to get themselves to the net. And like I said, it allows for a lot of versatility. So say with your 4-3-3, you're deciding to play some inverted wingbacks. Here's how that would look. The 2 in this instance is the right back, the 5, the left back. Then you have your number 8 being that defensive midfielder, or the halfback in this case, and they end up coming up and look at all the combinations that they themselves can create. So from those diagrams that I have showed all you, the 4-2-4 probably one of the more OP ones. The 4-2-3-1 allows for a lot of combinations in the box, but the 4-3-3 allows for the most versatility out of the 3. But one thing we haven't gone over yet is those roles. Well, we have gone over some, but what roles really allow you to take these tactics from being, yeah, they are the best, but to being the best of the best. So there's going to be one role that you're going to see on all 3 of these tactics here, for the 4-2-4, 4-3-3, and the 4-2-3-1. You will notice once I get to the 4-2-3-1 which role it exactly is. This role, I think, if you're implementing wingers this year in your tactics, is probably the best one to utilize. So here we have the 4-2-4. Now we got the 4-3-3, and now we got the 4-2-3-1. The role is the inverted wingers on attack. They're absolutely insane. Whether you are looking for goals, looking for playmaking, or even a little bit of defensive contribution, they have got you covered on all fronts. The next role that is up there with the inverted winger on attack is the Segundo Volante, which I've already hit on a little bit earlier, with it giving you some great playmaking ability. If you want to make it push up further forward, they can contribute goal-wise, but they also contribute defensively. Now, one that I think is probably the most underrated is the pressing forward, but on the support duty, which I mentioned earlier on in the video with the 4-2-4, that it kind of plays off an advanced forward on attack really, really well. Because yes, the pressing forward on support not only contributes goal-wise, but assist-wise. And for some reason, the pressing forward on support, when I have utilized it, will not only contribute here, but down here, out on the wings, down here. They kind of do anything and everything. I don't know why, but I am glad that they do. Now, mentality-wise, I have kind of preached on this channel that going with the positive mentality gives you the best of both worlds. Because, yes, you don't have to go very attacking or all-out attacking, and you don't have to go cautious or defensive. But for some reason, positive just hasn't been doing its thing like it had been as of late. So I ended up switching to balance mentality on almost every single tactic that I am making, and it is really, really helping out, especially with the 4-2-4 Dracarys and that 4-3-3 that you've seen. It is very, very good because it makes sure that all the players are contributing on both sides of the ball. Now, some other things I like to implement tactically are overlapping on the left and the right. Overlapping on the left and the right, which you saw where the wingers were in those diagrams that I showed you guys earlier, that overlapping on the left and the right really allows for a lot of creativity. That is essentially why I have it, because I want as many opportunities, as much creativity in the final third as possible. Hence why I like working the ball into the box and playing out from the defense, because the defenders, especially in that 4-3-3, when the halfback drops down, allows for those wingbacks to overlap and play it out from those defenders to them and try and break in that way. And finally, one thing that I really like doing, and that a lot of people like doing this year, is playing a high press, or doing more often pressing intensity, or much more often pressing intensity. And also with the pressing trap, not a lot of people seem to be utilizing that. Now, a lot of people usually leave it off. I like trap it to the outside, because if you use those opposition instructions earlier, which you can apply those to all three of these tactics if need be, you trap to the outside, they're not going to be able to do anything because you're already closing down on their fullbacks or wingbacks and their wingers as well. So if you trap them to the outside, you start closing down on them, make them force mistakes, you're going to be dominating from the word go. But that's about it for today's video. If you guys did happen to enjoy, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is 100% free, so why not hit that sub button. I hope that this helped you all kind of figure out, okay, maybe I give one of these tactics a go and implement this in my tactics for the rest of the FM23 period so that I can outright dominate the rest of the way until FM24 comes out. But like I said, hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, have a good one. Bye-bye.